This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas this coming March 12th to March 14th, 2018 at the Westgate Hotel and Casino. Visit photoboothexpo.com and use promo code SUPERB2018 for a key pass or SUPERB2018E for an exhibits only pass. See you there.
Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. I am Brian.
And I'm Ismail, and today we are extremely excited because we have the one, the only, Brian Ginsberg joining us on the podcast. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys.
Brian, are you any way related to Ruth Bader?
No, thank you. I'll pass on that one, though. No relationship whatsoever. She's a B-U-R-G, I'm a B-E-R-G.
Oh, gotcha. See, that's the difference. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
So for the few people out there that may not know who you are, Brian, can you just tell us a quick little snapshot of who you are and what you do?
I am Brian Ginsberg. I am the owner of pbbackdrops.com. I also own a photo booth company myself, which led me into pbbackdrops.com 2 years ago. I sell backdrops, props, photo booth supplies, pretty much almost anything you need outside of photo booths themselves and printers to just make your life a little bit easier in the photo booth industry.
And I just wanted to add some color at the start of the show that if people listen to the intro episode, you would know that Ryan and I met at the Expo in Vegas. But what you may not know is that the story behind me getting to the show and what happened there was it was extremely last minute. Brian Ginsberg was actually the guy who kind of twisted my arm and was encouraging me to go be at the show and showcase my software. But while other people just kind of encourage you, Brian actually took the extra step and offered to share his space with me. So that's a little tidbit for everybody out there to know that if you enjoy the podcast, you're learning a lot, you ultimately have Brian Ginsberg to thank for me and Ryan meeting at the Expo.
Nice. Well, I only invited you because I needed the extra money, Ismail. It wasn't because I liked you. So
It was purely financial.
It was purely financial, exactly.
Oh, it was a win-win.
Ismail was used.
I'm used to it. It's okay.
Well, this is the thing. I whenever I went to the expo, I didn't get a chance to meet Brian because he had such a line of people like throwing money at him. He was like taking credit cards and checks and cash and pesos, and I mean, it was just if you could figure out a way to give him money, he would take it.
And I had no problem doing it whatsoever either. It was definitely an experience when those doors opened.
Was that show successful for you?
Absolutely. So this was the second year I did the show. Last year I did the show. I did not have the same product line. I was just pretty much doing some backdrops, my rosette backdrops, which started me in the photo booth prop industry. And then I also had some booths that I was repping for another company at that time and a few props. This year I kind of expanded quite a bit and unleashed a new product line when we were there, which kind of took the industry by storm. It's not something that was new to the industry. It's just something that was brought back better than before.
Unleashed is the perfect term for it. It was like Hoover Dam opened and you just had such a line of people. It was just incredible. One of the things that I hate props. I can't stand props. If a client comes to me and they're like, "Oh, do you have theme props?" No, I'm not your man. I can't stand props. And one of the things that I have a problem with is these stupid boas. I mean, you have all your boas laid out. These clients and guests just like come ripping them apart. At the end of the event, it looks like there was a gangbang with the Muppets at the bottom. It's just horrible. There's feathers everywhere, and I was really happy to find out that your product really fixes that.
Yeah, you know what? I was really excited to, like I said, bring this to back to the photo booth industry. You know, there's some that say they've been here forever. Well, yeah, boas have been here forever. 98% of them are feather boas. There's another 1% where you can go on Etsy and somebody can knit you one here and there. But what we did is I partnered with a manufacturer who makes these beautiful featherless, mess-free, venue-friendly, allergy-free washable boas that most haven't seen before. And what was exciting about it is I displayed these things side by side with the boas that I bought at Party City prior to coming up. And by the end of the show, I had 100 boas on one rack, and I had 4 boas, and one where the feather boas, where it looked like you said, like mine looked like a chicken exploded, and where my new boas were, you had a piece of thread on the floor. That was the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. They look like a bird has been molting and is just depressed and has just lost all its feathers. It's so sad to look at.
Exactly. It was bad, but being able to showcase it and show the difference and why these boas are great and why the venues won't be mad at you anymore and why they'll let them back in the venues whatsoever is that simple reason. So, we brought back a few different styles, which was really nice. We have some faux fur boas. We have our original featherless. We have some lays. We have these super, super plush thick boas. And you know what? They were definitely the hit of my booth. I went up with almost 400, and I came back with literally like 12 out of the 400.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I wish I would have had 800 at that time.
I'm looking at the website now, and these things are absolutely amazing. They come in a million different colors. I'm really excited for this XL supersized featherless boa and bubblegum. I think it's my favorite.
It's if you look at some of the pictures back from the expo, you'll see some of the people put on these boas, and they're wearing 10, 15 of them at a time. Not only do they keep you nice and warm and cozy, they look great.
Yeah, and I just wanted to also bring it back to the fact that you had a photo booth rental business before obviously helps you when you're a vendor to other photo booth owners. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started? I know you were successful with a different business many years ago. So how'd you get into this industry, and how'd you then transition into selling these accessories to other photo booth owners?
So back in 1989, I started in the credit card processing industry. Been in that industry, obviously, ever since. I still run a company which is kind of on autopilot when the booth company came into fruition. I had a close friend who started a booth company, started with one Mojo booth, and within 6 months he had 4. And I looked at him, I went, wow, if he can do this, I can do it. And this is something that actually puts a smile on people's faces. The credit card industry got old, boring. The money was still okay, but people just don't smile anymore in that industry. So I needed a change. And we launched Capture the Moment photo booth. We started 4 years ago with one booth. We are now in our 4th year, and I have a total of 10 booths. We just added our 10th booth here this last 2 weeks. And a year and a half ago, close to 2 years, what transitioned to me is I just started seeing a need for products. And rather than searching for products everywhere, I was seeing what everybody on the photo booth forums was looking for. And I decided I picked up one item. It was my rosette backdrops. And they became very popular really quick. And kind of everything transitioned from there. I found what people needed, and I brought it to them. And I brought it to them at a fair and reasonable price, and brought them the great service to go along with it.
And you're keeping on bringing it. I see that you have the new spandex ones that I guess go over the, what is it, a 10 by 10 or an 8 by 8?
Yeah, we call those the pillow cover style stands. I have the pillow cover style stands. Anything with tension fabric we do, whether it be retractable banners, whether it be the pillow cover style banners, step and repeat banners. I mean, if you look on my site where I started 2 years ago from one product, I have hundreds of products now on there.
So is it all like custom printed, or do I just like pick what I want and then order it?
Well, all the tension fabric is custom printed to order. So if even my designs that we've come up with, those are print to order. So if you ordered one today from me, it's 1 to 2 days production, and it's 2 to 5 days in the air to you. It's really quick. So you can choose from my designs, or we give you a design template and you can design your own, and we can print those for you.
Amazon doesn't deliver that fast.
Not on custom stuff. I got to say, some other stuff they do. I ordered some, protein bars today, and guess when they showed up? Today. So unfortunately, Amazon's got a little bit faster speed on me on some things, but hey, that's okay. I'm not Amazon. I'm a small guy from California, trying to make a difference. I can't compete with the Amazons of the world.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that I noticed just observing Brian from a distance online and being there with him in person was the incredible, fanatical customer loyalty that he's able to cultivate. And I thought it'd be, really awesome for our listeners to kind of find out, how do you go about doing that for your business? And maybe there's ways that people can start applying that in their own rental businesses with their clients.
Well, I treat them like I want to be treated. I try to treat every customer like they're my only customer. When they call, I answer my phone. When they PM me, within seconds, I'm back with them. Sometimes it's a hindrance on my marriage because my wife goes crazy because I'm glued to my phone. But my phone and my
Facebook, have that same problem.
Yeah, and my phone and my Facebook is actually my work. So, I am a Facebook junkie, but it's a Facebook junkie because I work on Facebook.
Absolutely. I'm sure Facebook is a good revenue source for you.
Absolutely. And I don't like to make people wait. I hate waiting for answers. So the sooner I can get back to somebody, the better. If somebody PMs me, I try to get back to them within minutes. I do sleep a couple hours every night. So you sometimes have to wait a few hours in the morning to get an answer. But I try, like I said, I try to treat everybody like I want to be treated. I try to give them, like I said, great service, fast service. At a reasonable price, without taking them to the bank.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned it as a joke that you drive your wife crazy. I actually had the pleasure of meeting your beautiful wife and your son at the expo. And interesting thing that I noticed is that you guys kind of were working as a team, as a family, and it stood out so much that people that were walking by, I remember, would stop, like take pictures and say that they were, really happy to see a family working together. And all kidding aside about how all the work affects family life and relationships with people in your home, because we all go through that. Talking to other booth owners, a lot of them struggle with balancing work, replying to clients, and keeping their family happy. Do you have any advice on how to do that? Because it seemed like you guys were like the picture perfect family.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say picture perfect. We've tried. I mean, we have our ups and our downs, but I have a understanding wife who's able to put up with me. Yeah, I'm not the easiest one to put up with, and she has learned to deal with me and my quirks that I have, and we enjoy doing what we do. This isn't her full-time work like it's mine. She has another full-time job that she does besides taking care of our kids. And when she dives into this with me, we dive into this wholeheartedly together. When we do events together with the photo booth, we have a good time. Setup process sometimes is quite stressful, and she knows that, I get stressed out prior to the event, but when the event starts, we are like, we're perfect together. We know how to deal with our clients. We make everybody smile. And at the end of the day, we love each other. And it just, bringing my 4-year-old son to the expo and seeing how well he worked alongside of us and stayed at the booth the whole time, it was quite nice. I wish I could have had my other 2 kids with me, but, they were in school and they couldn't make it this year. So,
did the 4-year-old make any sales?
You know what? I probably got all the sales because of him.
Perfect.
He was the cutest thing at the place. Did he drive me crazy? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have rather had him anywhere else. He was great with us.
I guess this is a question to both you guys. Just an open question is, when I notice a common theme talking to people is that sometimes it seems so basic. Just respond to people quickly, pick up the phone. And that makes a difference. Is it really that simple? Do you guys think that alone makes that big of a difference when dealing with clients, just being available and treating them well? If so, why do you think people aren't doing it?
I personally think it's a little bit more. I think it's the person. I like the personal attention. I'd rather personally be face to face with somebody. I think I connect with people better face to face. However, I have learned through the whole sales process and being in sales for the last 20 plus years that you make a friend first, and when you make a friend, then the sale will come after that.
Absolutely. You build a relationship first.
Yeah, exactly. Build that relationship. If they don't buy from me now, you know what? If I've built that relationship, guess what? They will come back and buy from me later. And if they don't, hey, I've got a new relationship I've cultivated. Maybe they'll refer me somebody down the road. But the whole thing is about making relationships.
Well, and that's another thing I think that you kind of touch on a little bit is whenever you're building relationships, it's also the repetition. I think I was in a real estate seminar photographing just the conference for them. And one of the things that came up in there was a real estate agent made the point that you have to touch a client 50 times before they keep you top of mind. And I think that with Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media outlets that we have, if someone sees, hey, this person just ordered from Brian. Hey, I just got this from Brian. It was amazing. Hey, took a look at this event. Oh, who's the backdrop from? Oh, it's from Brian. I think all those things really help solidify your customer loyalty and just brand recognition in general.
Absolutely. And you know what? At the end of the day, after I've sold to my customers and they've purchased and they've received their products, I ask them, hey, listen, my best advertisement is my customers posting. That is my best advertisement. If you're happy, post away. I don't entice them and say, hey, I'll give you a freebie if you post for me. They genuinely post because they had a great experience with us. I continue to do that. And if you don't ask your customers to post for you, whether it's in a business where you're selling product or your photo booth business, you're going to get maybe 1-2% of them that are going to post for you. But just like in my photo booth business, I send a letter out, I call everybody afterwards, and I ask them to post on Yelp, whether it's a good or bad experience. And thankfully, over the 4 years, I've only had 5-star reviews on Yelp. And it translates from what I'm doing at my events. Even if something doesn't go perfect, I know how to make it perfect. I know how to make things right.
So this is the other thing that I think everyone really needs to know about is with sales, there are times where you have to ask for the sale. The client doesn't necessarily know the next step in booking you, and they may want to book you, but they haven't given you those buying signals that they want to book from you. The same thing goes for reviews. A client doesn't know they need to be giving you a review, even though if you are living and dying by those reviews. The greatest thing I think you're doing is being able to tell people, hey, listen, please leave me a review. It'll do wonders for me. And I think that everyone else can really use that in their business as well.
Absolutely, 100%. If you're not asking, you're not going to get. The
And
worst, what I've learned is if you don't ask, you won't get. And the worst that somebody can tell you is no. And if you can't take a no, you're in the wrong business.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think people are scared of is bad reviews. If you're really scared of bad reviews, I would suggest doing a survey, sending your clients a survey immediately after. Hey, how did the attendant do? Hey, was the attendant on time? Did your photo strip come out right? Was everything done right? And if anything was wrong, they're going to tell you it was wrong. And that's where you have an opportunity to fix it before it goes public. A client is going to be the first person to shoot off something bad. They're not going to be the first person to shoot off whenever something good happens. So if you give your customer the opportunity to vent with you, A, you're able to fix it. And B, if it's a good review or if it's a good survey that comes back, you can say, hey, listen, can you write a review on this page? Send them a link and everyone's happy.
Exactly what we do. And, again, not only are we calling them after the events, we're emailing them. We're also sending them a letter in their mail with their USB, asking them to leave those reviews for us. So I think it's imperative that you do that. I think you're missing out on a lot of extra new business by not doing that. Yelp reviews, people complain about Yelp and, it costs too much and what you get out of it. Well, I've never paid a dime to Yelp, and I get, 30% of my leads come from Yelp and just the reviews that I have.
And again, after hanging around with Brian a while, I think if I had to say what a superpower was, I would say it's, the personal relationships with people. And it's kind of like what you guys were talking about before, thinking more long-term, not transactional. Give me something, I'll give you something. Working on building that relationship over the long term. And I guess there's a lot of common themes that I'm trying to connect with the photo booth rental business and your PB backdrops business. In a world today where there's a lot of vendors out there selling props and backdrops, for some reason you're able to cultivate this kind of very loyal fan base. And what do you think it is that you do that has them not only pick you but kind of sing your praises and recommend you and post about you? And how do we apply that kind of mindset to everything else that we do?
Well, again, like I said, it's going back to how quickly I take care of things. When they order a product, it's shipped the next day. When they ask me a question, they get an answer right away. And I just, like I said, I treat them like they're my only client at that point in time. And that's what they like and that's what they deserve. Unfortunately, you can't be perfect with everybody. And, in a perfect world, obviously you could, but you do your best to, do whatever you can to put a smile on everybody's face. Like I said, you bring them great products at reasonable prices. I don't overcharge people for things. I just, like I said, I work hard on building that initial relationship, whether it's in the PB backdrops or in my Capture the Moment photo booth. When I'm on the phone talking to them, I'm building that relationship. I'm personally on the photo booth side, I'm trying to get a meeting with them because I want them to see me face to face. Whereas this is a little bit different with PB backdrops. You build that relationship. You have people write the reviews. They see the reviews. They see the repetitiveness. They see my name over and over again, and they start to say, "Hey, this guy must be doing something right. Let's go with him. Let's give him a shot." And they get to see my service and how quickly they get their stuff, and it's kind of like a little spiral effect. It works in my favor. I love it.
And I think the other thing to harp on is that no matter how perfect you are, there are time to time bad experiences or just people that just don't resonate with you, maybe don't like you. And I don't know how you would advise people deal with the negative stuff. And I think there was something recently where you were booted off Facebook. I don't know if there was anything that happened there or something behind that. But can you talk about how you suggest people deal with not only the positive feedback and encourage that, but how do you deal with the negative and prevent that from not letting that prevent you from proceeding and growing your business?
Well, I recently, prior to the Facebook, me getting booted and going into Facebook jail, I had a couple people, for some reason, we don't see eye to eye. I have no idea why, whatever the case may be. And it makes it difficult because I like to please everybody. And that's the hardest part, is when you can't please everybody, you start to look at yourself and go, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe it's just somebody else. And that's what I came to realize after, 2 weeks of just mind-boggling myself. What am I doing? Why are these people against me? What did I do to them? And then you look at the sheer numbers when it's 3 people you're talking about versus 1,000 people that are liking you. You kind of tend to find out after a while it's not really you. Maybe it's somebody else. 2 weeks ago, I was in the middle of the night setting up a new admin in my website so they could do my social media. And all of a sudden, I get a warning across my screen that Facebook is disabling my account because there's suspicious activity on my account. Had no idea what was going on. Literally, this was at 3:30 in the morning. Kind of freaked me out because this is my life here. I mean, and when I say my life, this is my business. This is my livelihood. This is how I feed my family. And now I'm booted and, my profile's gone. That's attached to everything. I guess the positive about it is they didn't do anything to my business pages. It was just my personal page. But the downer is everybody on Facebook said, where's Brian Ginsberg? Where's Brian Ginsberg? They all thought I disappeared off the face of the earth. And, that can hurt a business. But the beautiful thing that I saw was how many people came out to support me and say, where is Brian? Why is he gone? When I had to create a second profile until this debacle was taken care of, just the support that I got from everybody on the forums was, it was amazing. So, I mean, I'm doing what I do for a good reason. I'm making people happy. I'm making a lot of friends. You just kind of got to push through things. I mean, they do get to you. Unfortunately, you do take them personally, which I did at first. And thankfully, I have a wife who keeps me level-headed and, allowed me to see past some of this stuff. And, you learn and you grow.
Yeah, I think the important lesson to take away from that is that no matter how great you are, if you're in business long enough, bad things will happen. You'll get a bad experience with a customer. You may get a bad review. But like Brian mentioned, you look at the numbers, right? If you've done 1,000 events and you've had 5 bad experiences, don't dwell on those bad experiences. Focus on the people that are supporting you. And I actually remember when Brian was booted, I actually sent him a text to see what happened, if there's anything I can do to help. But honestly, there was no need because of the loyalty that he's built over the years. Like he said, there are people extremely supportive of him, looking out for him, posting updates for him. And I think that that's something that we all would wish to emulate in our own businesses. And I guess that's another lesson that maybe we can all take from there is that it's great that there's these tools out there like Facebook and Twitter and online. It might be worth investing effort into building an email list because no matter what happens, you can always contact your customers with an email list and keep the relationship there. I don't know if you guys agree with that. That's just something that maybe the listeners can take away from that.
I absolutely agree with it. And this is something that one of my friends teaches about is, you can have 15,000 Instagram followers, 30,000 Twitter followers. If Instagram or Twitter or Facebook changes any one of their algorithms to where you don't see their post as often as you normally would, or they change it to where you can only see it whenever so many people like that particular post, with an email list, you own your list. That's the only thing that's tangible. Whenever you have 15,000 followers on Instagram, Instagram owns your following, not you.
I got to agree with you guys. I've built a nice list of emails from my customers who have purchased from me, and God forbid something happens where I get put in Facebook jail again. At least I have a way to communicate. But again, with the loyal backing that I have, and the great customers that I have, and the friends that I've made, like Ismail said. I had people posting for me updates, and my wife was able to jump on and let people know, and it was just nice seeing that. But on the other side of it, I did have a list of emails that I could get in contact with everybody if I had to.
Did you, whenever you're in Facebook jail, kind of, if your life is on there and you're kind of limited as to your presence on there, how was that like personally? Because I'm on my phone all the time. I don't know what I would do if I was in Facebook jail.
Trust me, it was not easy. Literally last night it was 12:30 a.m. and my wife. I was laying in bed, and I was my friends list popped up, and I woke my wife. I'm like, honey, and she's like, and she freaked out. She's like, what? I scared the crap out of her. And granted, my wife's 6 months pregnant. Okay, so I woke her up, and she's like, what? I'm like, I'm out of jail.
I'm sure she's like, oh shit, here it goes again.
Exactly. So it was nice getting out of jail, but you know what? My life, my profile, every tag that was on there was tagged to me, to my personal profile. Even though my business accounts were fine, my PB backdrops and my CTM photo booth were fine, all the tags and all the posts were gone. So I was like a ghost on there. When people would type in my name, instead of it being linked to my name, it would just be my name on there. It did definitely affect me. It was a bummer.
There's lots of vendors selling photo booths, backdrops, props, and all sorts of other stuff you didn't even think you needed. So what's one place where you can see and compare everything all at once?
The internet.
No. Try again.
The Google.
No, the Photo Booth Expo.
Come see us live and in person at the Westgate Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, March 12th through the 14th. We have some fantastic giveaways, and we can't wait to see you.
And now back to the show.
So now we're moving on to our question and answer session, where we're going to give you a question and answer it as best you can, as fast you can.
Okay.
What is your best memory from an event?
Best memory from an event would be, you know what? I don't have a super duper great memory. It's the memory is when I put smiles on everybody's faces. To be honest, I know it's kind of a lame answer, but there's nothing.
It's a common answer.
Yeah, nothing that's been so super exciting that's jumped out and gone, oh my God, I can't, this date. But at the end of the night, when the bride and groom or the person that's hosting the party is so happy with you, that's my best time at an event.
Great. What advice would you give to new businesses?
Stick with what you're doing. Overcome the little hurdles that you're going to go through. Value your time more than some people unfortunately do in this business. You're worth more than $20 an hour. That's why you went into business for yourself. And just work hard. Work hard to make friends, and everything will come along with that.
How do you define success?
Wow. How do I define it? It's definitely not just a bank account. Success is my success is my happy family. My success is having all my loyal customers to me. My success is being on this show right now. Shows that I've been successful enough that you guys wanted me on this show.
Oh,
that's
we
success
love
to me. Thank you.
What is your craziest story from an event?
Craziest story is probably lighter than anybody else has. Just you get some guests that come in and little tipsy, and you find out they're not wearing anything underneath what their dresses, and they're so darn drunk that they fall down, and you're getting little extra shots that probably shouldn't have been seen, and they're probably not happy that they did either. But that was probably the most exciting thing that's happened in the booth.
Gotcha. And finally, what is the one thing you wish you knew earlier?
I wish I knew in the beginning. Well, it depends on which company you're talking about. For PB backdrops and for photo booths, I wish I would have learned to buy quality rather than quantity. I've been through so many of the crappy things to learn that if I would have just bought the good things once, I would have only done it once. And I would have saved a lot of money. So listening to your peers on what they're telling you to do, they're telling you for a reason because they've been there, done that.
We've all made those mistakes before. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ismail.
Thank you so much to Brian for joining us. You can visit his website at pbbackdrops.com. Tell us what you think. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SuperBoothers. And submit your questions to us online at www.superboothers.com. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next week.